yeah. I think now the system is working, right? Yeah. That's all right, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So today we're going to have some a quick review about what we have done last week and Model 6 compared to population, if you remember it. And also we're going to have a couple of our several exercises, 3 exercises. We are going to check every exercise in details, and we'll see how we go, how these exercises will help us to do so during business report and final exam, right? So just quick review. So if you remember last week we compared two, before that, sorry, guys. So about business report, material is already available on Blackboard. Cover model 5, models from 5 to 8. Also a couple of concepts of model 4, especially sampling. And we'll due on Monday, 13th of May, 2019 at 10 a.m. So you try to submit it before that time. Submission via Blackboard. We'll talk about all the requirements and stuff during the classes, and also next week after the break, we're going to have also some explanation and hints that will help you to do so in business report and final exam. So I'm going to each model, and I will give you some hints that this is the structure, this point is important, this formula is important, that's the structure of final exam. That's how we have, when you address the questions of business report, you have to follow this strategy. So all of these points will help you to do so in business report. Most of you guys was good in mid-semester test. I hope you're going to be go better and better in the next assessments. So that's for final exam. Just before I forget, and this is for all, also for online students. In final exam, don't forget you have to have your book, textbook, and the cheat sheet. So because no copy tables and appendices allowed in final exam, right? Don't forget that one. So I will also upload, release the requirements of final exam in details on Blackboard. So no printing appendixes, your textbook and cheat sheet. Don't forget that point, right? So just quick revision about what we have done last week. See, what we have done last week compared to population, right? And see differences. If you remember, the difference between two population, which is mean mu1 and mean mu2, and at the beginning we have to check whether it's independent sample or samples or matched pair experiment. And we talk about independent, we said the samples has to be male surveys and female surveys, right? Males and 2 independent genders, right? That's independent. If it's independent, we have to see whether the population variance is known or unknown. If it's known, we're going to use Z, but there are some specific requirements you have to follow, like proof variances and stuff. So, and we're going to have, when we are doing the, so for example, to control the interval, we're going to have additional, because we compare 2 samples, right? Or 2 populations, right? 2 instead of 1. That was, if you remember, x bar minus mean mu divided by n, right? You remember that one? So that's our stuff before. So once now, our square root of n divided by square root of sigma divided by n. That is the original formula of Z. But now we're going to have two populations, right? 2x bar, 2 min mu, and because we are interested to see the difference between two populations. Model 5 was single population, right? Do you remember it? Single population. Model 6, two population. Today we're going to have ANOVA because we're going to have more than two population. Right? So if it's known, follow this stuff. If it's unknown, we have to consider two important points. That's our model 6, guys. Two important. This slides cover all the material of model 6, by the way. You can print it and keep it in your hand if you have it. Right? Cover all the material for independent. I thought you want to take photo for us. So if it's known, we follow this Z. Unknown, no. We have to consider two things, whether the equal variance or unequal variance. If it's equal variance, how we measure equal variance? Bigger S divided by smaller s, right? And we see whether if it's less than 1.5, that means equal variance. Unequal, greater than 5, right? And we follow. But here you have to be careful about calculation of the degree of freedom. There is a formula you have to follow, and we're going to use T in both, right? Unequal. But there are some differences in terms of the pole variance, right? See pole variance, you calculate this one from here, or there are some differences, you can follow this one, or, sorry, it's different Z and A. So SP, see how to follow, calculate it. Or, and if it's unequal, same, but the degree of freedom will be a little bit different. And in here, so that's T in both, known or unknown. And also, we have another part of our model 6, two parts, independent sample and both different to compare two populations, but we have independent and matched pair. Matched pairs means that one sample, one task for same audience or same person, and he gives two opinions, or do two different experiments for same person, like when we have some doing. It's more important in health sciences when we do any test, for example, for medicine, and we have two versions of same drug or vaccine, and we give it to the same person and see whether it has some effect or differences. Because here, in the matched pair experiment, we are interested to see the impairment effect, right? So there's an additional effect, and see this effect, whether it's available or not, and do some tests. Matched pair experiment, we're going to use T distribution. So what we have for mean population, we have ND, which is the difference between mean mu1 and mean mu2, and we're going to have the sample if it's normally distributed and sample size is greater than 30, normally distributed. And the N, we're going to have N, the sample size has to be different because it's same participant, right? Same participant. And that's how to get T. If we are interested to find the interval, so ND minus 1, so because it's here, same, but we're going to have additional. So XD, it should come from X bar 1 minus X bar 2. So in here, how to define, or how to know whether it's dependent or independent or a matched pair experiment. You have to see the nature of the question. So analyze the question, note down the parameters of interest. So you're gonna be more informed about the nature of the question, whether it's independent or matched pair experiment, right? So if we're interested about the difference between two population proportion, right? Probability being success, and here we're going to have the condition of NP, but not just NP, you have NP1 and NP2. we have to find this condition because we're going to have more than one population compared to populations, right? So we're going to have N1 and N2, P1 and P2. So we have to meet this condition first to approximate if it's equal to 0. We're going to use if. In case that equal to 0, we're going to use the first case in here. If it's different than 0, we're going to use the second case. So there's some differences in terms of calculation of p hat. See? We combine because it's equal to 0, x1 minus. If it's not equal or different than 0, so that means we're going to calculate p1 on side, and other side we're going to calculate p2. So different calculations, right? And then if we are going, that's for hypothesis testing. If we're going to interested with the estimation, so that's the formula, same for before, estimation the population proportion, but we're going to have additional population because we are interested to see the difference between two populations, right? Proportions. That's a quick review about what we have done last week, if you remember it. And today we're going to have 3 exercises. So cover the material of last week. So go ahead with the first exercise. So first, guys, even in the business report, okay, even in the business report, what you can do, you have to, at the beginning, when you read the question, please note down whether it's independent or matched pair experiment, right? So the steps, can you give me, pay your attention a bit, guys? This is important for you in business report. In business report, you have a couple of steps to follow. The strategy of solution of business report. At the beginning, you have the questions, right? 3 or 4 questions. For each question, what you have to do? At the beginning, you have to note down the parameters of interest. Like, the question is independent or not? Independent or matched pair experiment, right? This is first. And then, which distribution you're going to follow? T or Z? Note it down. T distribution, for example. And later I will also give you additional hints. But this is just for you guys to, if you have time within this break to do so you can work on it, start work. The second, you have to check if it's, for example, independent, but variance unknown. Unknown variance, you said? For example, unknown variance, right? If it's unknown variance, how are we going to check? You give me the reason. Because one bigger s divided by smaller s greater than 1.5. I want you to show me the steps of addressing this issue, step by step. Unknown variance, why? You say because blah, 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 right? Bigger s divided by smaller s greater than 1.5. If it's known, that means smaller than 1.5, right? You got it, guys? Next, third. What else? I'm not going to address it. Hypothesis. The null and alternative. If it's single population or 2 or 3, it depends on the nature of the question, right? So I want you to show me whether it's mean mu1 minus mean mu equal to 0, for example. So I want you to show me this step for all the questions, right? For I need to do a cheat sheet in the business report. How cheat you? So, it's a good steps, right? Here, when you decide to use this one, what is your distribution you're going to use here? T or Z? Now put the formula. Formula Z equal to, depends. One population, Z, X bar minus mini mu, blah, blah, right? If it's two population, mini mu 1 minus mini mu 2 equal to some, do some calculation and find. Once you find the value of Z, right? You're gonna, now down in here, the next steps, you have to compare the value of Z with the critical region. You have to write critical region. 5 here. Critical region. T or Z depends on the nature of the question. For example, Z greater than Z alpha, blah, blah, blah. So you go to Z table or T, depends, or T, up to you. Depends on the nature of the question. Z or T, you find the value of T, critical, right, T alpha, compared with the Z or T here. For the 3 significant levels, 1, and 5, and 10. And you decide whether you're going to, this is a decision or conclusion, right? Reject or accept null hypothesis. Reject, tick 1 point. Accept. Accept for 1 and 5, but reject for 10. I want you to show me these steps. So around 6 or 7 steps. 6 to 7 steps. Also for all the questions. But read the question, note down the parameters of interest, and then go ahead with the rest. That's the steps of business report. Not that much difficult, but you have to have little experience with this, with the Excel, because you're going to do some calculation in some questions. I'll show it to you today. I did one Excel sheet data. I'll show you how to, because you also have to do some histogram analysis to see whether the data is normally distributed or not. And I want you to show me, because one question or two questions, I want you to show me the. Go ahead with the first exercise. That's the steps, right? You know the steps now, guys? And I am in also during concentration hours, but not during the break. Don't come. Please. We have a lot of research work to do. Even next week, I will give you another hint. I mean, week after, because it's you have to have Model 8 include, which is the week after, chi-square. It will be part of our business report, and I will show you how to, in details. So do you have a question, guys? You have, right? So try to note down the parameter of interest or the nature of the question we have in here. 11.21 exercise, automobile insurance companies. Half an hour. Oh, 19 minutes. Please hurry, guys, 19 minutes already.
When we're looking at this, I'm looking for 198. Do we just choose the closest one?
If it, no, yeah, closest one, exactly. Good on you. T, right?
Yep.
So here we said 98 confidence level. That means significant level is 5%.
It
Right?
says 95.
Significant. That's confidence.
Oh, okay.
So you have to say 1 minus 95 equal to 5.
Yep.
Right, guys?
That's what the corners are used for. Big school holiday.
After the class.
Yeah.
No, but I think.
I hope so.
I think.
I've been preoccupied in school holidays. I have children.
Yeah, me too. Ah. Don't go to the childcare before the team.
It's almost a break coming to uni. I've never looked forward to stats before. Today, not so much.
Yeah. Yes, guys.
So this question at the beginning said estimate. Don't forget to see the nature of the question also. Estimate or testing or check. So estimate, right? That means you have to see the interval, lower critical and confidence level or higher, upper confidence level. Right? T. And what's your decision here? So they ask whether estimate difference in the mean distance driving male and female. So the question is in independent or matched pair. We have male and female drivers, right? And the sample size is big, normal distributed 100%. Check whether you have unknown population variance or not. And the sample nature of the independent or matched pair. All right? So estimate. If it's independent, you're going to use Z. If it's independent, we're going to use, or we can see the population variance known or unknown, right? So if it's known, then we're going to use Z. If it's unknown, that means we're going to use T. But in here, you have to check whether it's equal or unequal. I think no need to do that. Yeah, we have to check because we have two value of S, right?
Yes.
You have to check the biggest one divided by smallest one. If it's less than 1.5, that means equal variance. If it's greater than unequal variance, right? So independent or matched pair, what do you think? Males and females. Independent, right? Independent. So the nature of the question is two independent populations or samples, unknown population variance. Why? See, as I told you guys, that's the steps in exam. Two independent samples, unknown population variance. So because bigger S divided by smaller S equal to 1.01, less than 1.5. That means equal variance distribution. So that means we're going to use T. So the question said estimate. That means we're going to use the estimation. But here, see guys, in here, we're going to sorry. We're going to have two, because we're interested to see the difference between comparing two populations. That's a formula, guys. Just follow the first slide I showed to you guys, the formulas. Why? Then you find the stuff, like in here, after doing some calculation, you're going to have two intervals, 81% plus 57 minus 57. So it depends. So we're going to identify the interval, upper and lower interval. So we're going to have minus 240 and plus 1,380 kilometers. So that's how to calculate the pool variance from the formula and degree of freedom, total degree of freedom, n minus 2, because you have two parameters or two samples, right guys? Don't forget this point. So please note it down a bit. Hurry, because I have another important requirement I want to show it to you guys. The next requirement B, check the condition see, you have to see in your business report, you've done the stuff, guys. You copy it, guys, note it down a bit. Because we have a lot of stuff to do today. And now we still have additional 2 exercises. Yep. So, because you have to open the Excel sheet, guys, and show you the how to find the second or address the second requirement, which is part of your assignment. You all right, guys? All right. Let me jump. Okay. See, guys. In the business report, I already provide you with the database. What I want you to do, this is the base. That's the base of data, like 4 or 5 columns, right? What you have to do, you open a new sheets with the same file, open sheets for the questions, and copy the data, or do whatever you want to do. Copy it for the first question, put it here, second question, put it here, blah, blah, blah. Depends on the question. Once you copy and put it, you know, this is this sheet 1, for example, sheet 2, it's for question 1. Or you can't say, just double click in here and or rename, right? Question 1, for example, right? So we'll save as a question 1, question 2, rename. Just click, right click and rename it. So I'll try to address the question using the functions of Excel. So these functions will give you a lot of idea, and it will give you a lot of things. So for example, here, in this question, we have what they said in here. They said you have to check the condition. So because you have 2 different samples, right? Male and female, right? Males and females. So we're going to see whether the data is normally distributed or not. And check also the average and, the mean and the standard deviation for the sample. S for the both. So first, for example, so what you have to do, because I'm asking you, for example, guys, to in the question or business report, to do the histogram to see the shape of the data. I want you to show me for all the samples. What's the histogram? You have to go data analysis and see histogram. But before that, you have to do some steps like create a bin, right? So create a bin, and for example, 2 samples you have to control, and you have to sort the data from the smallest to highest, right? First, for example, here you can go to filter. For example, 1 male, right, in the question, and 1, for example, and 2 female. So you control for males, for example, right? So now you have just 100, right? 100 observation for male, right? So what you have to do before creating the bin, you have to let me do one thing, guys, before. So let me repeat it for you guys. Now you have, it's 200 observations, right? Because you have the data for males and females. Just quick repeat for you guys. And what you have to do, just highlight it both, and right here, a filter. So it will both, I already give it to you, put it in the blackboard with the filter function already. I make it for you guys. What you have to do, you have to control 1 by 1 and test. So here, you control for just for male, 100, right? So now, let's see, because we have to create a bin, right? Bin. Bin shorten. So, what you have to do, you have to sort the data. There's two functions. You can sort it from here, or can you highlight it and go here to the function of sort filter, or sort it from smallest to highest, because you have to create a bin, right? So just sort it from smallest to highest. So we're going to have two observations, right? And you just create a bin. So what I suggest you guys, from my perspective, it depends on you guys. You can do it with the same sheet. But once we've done that, we just copy it, right? And put it in now 100 for male, and copy it to a new sheet, right? Paste it and create a bin. Bin. So what we have smallest 2.2 and the highest around 20, right? So the bin has to be like 2, 4, right? 6, sort of. So till 20, 18, 20, right? So that's a bin. Create a bin. To organize, right? So that's another functions. Don't worry about it. But so now we have the data 100 observation from a create a bin. We sort the data from highest to smallest, and we control just for males. And your question in business report, you have firms audited by Big Four. KPMG, Ernst & Young, this is Big Four audit firms. And firm audited with local, non-Big Four, I said. And I give you COD, which is cost of debt, measured by the formula that I provided to you, which is the interest rate divided by total assets and stuff, or total debt, right? So, now, this step's clear. Same for business report. You do it question by question, but leave the base as in the first, the raw data in the first column, and copy, and run. See the result. That's it. That's what you have. Now, the next step, we're gonna create histogram, right? To see the data whether it's normal. Oh, before that, what you can do. If you want to see, because you have to see the mean of your data. How to find the mean for this male sample? You just highlight it, guys. Here down, see? 10.2. That's the average for the mean. Or there's another function in here, down, equal, for example, equal, let's say, S standard deviation for sample, right? And you just highlight it, put it in the stuff in here, right? And just close the table. Just wait a moment. Okay, here. Sorry, no, I did something wrong. Okay. So highlight it. I will repeat it, guys, because the stuff was a bit small. I want to make it bigger. Right? So here, equal SD standard deviation S, or average, up to you, and put the stuff in here, the data, and then close the table and enter. So we'll give you 2 points and check it in your slides. Do you have the slide? I don't have it. So now we have the standard deviation for this, and we have the mean when we highlight it, right? When you highlight all the data, it will give you the average, which is the mean, down. Or you can find the mean from here, same function. Equal mean or average, open and highlighted and close, enter.
So this one?
Yeah, for this data. It's available in your book if you buy the new book. They already provide you with a database, right? Check 11 point. So now if you go, so now we have the, if you go to the question in here, you can find, I'll show you, the value, see, 2.8 and 2.9 for females, right? See, in here, sorry. See, 2.8, like what we have found. I think close, because sometimes, see, 2.8 exactly, right? For the male. That's how to equal STDS, which is for standard deviation for sample, because we have sample, right? Highlight it, put it between two brackets, and just enter. I will give you the standard deviation, right? To check, because they already provided to you in the question. Maybe in the business report, I didn't provide it to you. You have to find it. How to find it? Use same function. And again, if you don't have enough knowledge in using Excel to find this sort of functions, come and see me, right? Same for average, as I told you, like highlighted, right? So, wait, yeah. So now, what we have to do? Histogram, right, guys? So what's the function of histogram database? This histogram, right? Input range. Put all the 100 observation, right? Bin, sorry. We put the bin in here, created, right, guys? You remember it? And labels, output range. Put it in here. Chart output. Okay. So you're going to have this output. Right? What's the next step?
Get rid of the gaps.
Yes. How to right click in here. You put the mouse in here and right click. It will give you format data series. Gap width, make it 0. It's 150. Already this is a default. Make it 0. Right? So now you have a shape. Copy it. Word. You need more? You wanted me to do your business report? Guys, I want to make it easy for you. Trust me. I spend all this time. It's your job, but I want you have to do it. But some of you guys have a couple of assignments, have a lot of exams, so I want you to make it easy. So I don't want you, when you hear the statistics, you're just a bit scary. No, not scary, it's easy. Now, just paste. You can say, yeah, it looks like normally distributed, right? Because it looks like cell shape. That's it. But I want you to put here the average, which is the mean, and value, 10.2, something like that, and the standard deviation value. Because I want to see whether you understand the question, because you have 3 histograms in your business report. You have to check it, right? In some cases, we still have like 300 observations, for example. But maybe the histogram, this is normally distributed, right? Sorry. But maybe in one of your histogram will be not normally distributed. Will be like, it will be like in long tail on the right hand side or long tail on the left hand side. Maybe it's not normally. I want you to show me your Excel output histogram. Note it down. All right? So for another one, guys, same. You go back to the raw data. Here, we're going to have sorry. We're going to have for female, again, just control for 2, same. Right? So the data will be different. So sorted from smallest to largest. I think 15, see? Go and do the bin on other. Again, if some of you guys not that much knowledge with the Excel, come and see me. Why not this week after break? Got it? Any question about this? It's important. That's why I spent a couple of minutes to explain it to you guys. Right? Want me to send it to you by email? All right. So see, exactly like. So I want you to use this. I want you to use this explanation. I want you to say histogram, distance, driving by blah, mean. Because I want to see whether this male and female. That's the next second condition of the question. This is important in your business report. Got it? Next to the, jump to the next exercise. $13.49. So please try to identify the parameters of interest. Check the case of this exercise, whether it's matched pair or independent. If it's one same owners, they provide 2 types of opinions using survey technique. So that means we're going to have matched pair experiment. Right? So with matched pair experiment, we're going to have, for example, T or, yeah, you decide which distribution you're going to have. So because we are interested with the incremental value with matched pair experiment, we're going to use T. Sorry guys, just a moment. Decreased, right? That means the mean of mismatch pairs. Yes. Because same investors provide 2 different opinions. And here we are interested to see the incremental value between these 2 opinions in terms of the mean that, as the question said, can we conclude that the value of shareholdings has decreased? That means we see the means the last year could be smaller than year before, right? So XD will be, right, mini mu 1 minus mini mu 2, which is the last year we can say mini mu 1, and year before we can say mini mu. Because we're interested with the incremental value, we see the difference. Because our topic is comparing two different, see the difference between two populations, right? If it's directly use T, if it's, but here, by the way, guys, please pay attention. In the business report, maybe I'm not going to mention about the significant level or significant, like 1% or use 1% or confidence level will be equal to that. No, if I'm not mentioning, you have to use all the significant levels, 3, and decide with at which level you're going to reject or accept null hypothesis. Right? So I want you to follow the step. What happened?
I thought I was wrong, but I lost it.
No, you're right. Yeah, but trying is good. So see, match pair experiment. This is the steps of addressing any question, guys, in the business report. For example, you have to say match pair experiment, compare it to population. Tick. This is 2 marks. XD difference between blah, blah, blah. Right? If it's independent, we have to see whether the population variance is known or unknown. But here, because it's match pair, no need to check. Directly go to the hypothesis, right? Hypothesis. According to the question, can we conclude that the value of shareholdings, these shareholders who provide an opinion for the differences in terms of the shareholdings, value of the shareholdings, different than between last year and is there any differences? Because with match pair, we are interested with the, sorry, no worries. Big question. We are interested with the incremental value, guys, with match pair. Don't forget this point. So that means the null hypothesis will be equal to 0, and the alternative hypothesis, mini mu d, which is mini mu 1 minus mini mu 2, equal to mini mu d, right? If you go back to check this stuff. So, I mean the formula. So we're going to have t value, right? Use the t formula. Exactly. This is steps for business report. See, after identifying the t, we can have minus 1.52. We have 3 different rejection regions. This is very important, guys. I want you to give me this one and this one have 3 or 4 marks, and then the decision will be 2 marks. Here is 3 marks. Here 2 marks. Here 3 or different. Depends on the independent, because if it's independent, we have additional explanation, which is an unknown population or known population, right? Variance, right? So at first and at 5% significant level, don't forget, guys, alpha is a significant level, which is 1 minus confidence level, right? That means 1 minus 95 equal to 5%. That's the how to find the significant level. Don't forget this point. This is the material of model 5. So you just come and say, yeah, it's very good. That'll be fine. So I'm not going to show you how to draw it down, because we've done that a lot of times. So just during the time, no time to drop down everything. So see the decision. Do not reject the null hypothesis at 1 and 5. Right? If you compare the 1 and 5, it will be in the non-rejection area, but reject at 10% because it will be in rejection area, right?
1.2 and 1.5. Yeah.
Why are we rejecting at 1%?
Why we are rejecting at 1%?
Isn't -2?
So it's minus
Oh, I see. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, yeah.
2 point,
What's the value 2 point minus 2.348, right? So what's the value of t? 1.
minus 1.1.
So that's rejection region.
Yeah.
No, you have to walk it down during the time, guys. We can't cover everything during the class.
ANOVA, 2 hours is not enough. And ANOVA, one question in the final exam and one question in your business report. Try to work it out. We still have another exercise. All right? Jump to the next exercise. You have a question? Up, jump to the next exercise. But I'm very happy because you've done well in the business circle. Just some of them within 10 days now. Didn't I send you an email, right? No. It's the aircon. Like. Yeah, try to address this question a bit tricky.
So it's not that much. It's important, but
In some cases, have to read the question carefully and think, link this idea with the general acceptance of the vaccine. And to what extent we have a chance to protect ourselves from the flu. No chance in Australia, right? You have to get cough during winter. Different color.
It's a bit tricky, I know, but yeah. Because if you're treated with the vaccine, yeah, I just finished reading, think about it. If you're treated with a vaccine, you have less chance, right, to have a flu, right? Sometimes when the Prime Minister says, please go and take some rest, and then no one follows. So it's a bit tricky, but you need to link the idea and think about it. Like that here, they said the question is about vaccination and stuff. So two conditions they develop. One, it's treated with a vaccine, and they recording the results. And the question said, check whether, or because here's the link, because they said if you're treating with a vaccine, you have less chance to have flu, right? Less chance to have flu. So that means taking a vaccine, and that's a proportion, population of proportion. And with the population of proportion, you have to address the question. It's a bit tricky, I know, but you have to link the data and think about it. And it's generally from our, idea or our knowledge that if you treated with a vaccine, you have less chance, right, to have a flu. So from this, and the idea is effective in preventing the flu, right? Do the data provide evidence? So that's what, because we want to test our belief. So some of them, they said, no, we are not going to take vaccine because there is no effect. But we want to test our effect, our belief, whether this vaccine, if you treat with the vaccine, is there any chance to reduce chance of getting flu? So let's go population, proportion, right? And all the materials defined. And so you just need to, don't forget to meet this condition, please, because it's important. If it's part of your exam or part of your business report material, so you have to meet this condition. If you remember N times P, when we've done single population, but here we have two populations. We have 2N and 2Ps, right? So meet this condition. Again, according to is approximate to normal distribution because N is greater than 5. So if you remember that in this condition, define P1 60% percentage. So that's how to calculate P1 and P2. If you remember, because it's different than 0, this is the hypothesis, and then we're going to use Z, right? And from Z, it becomes a bit messy, right? Did you note the first stuff? P hat, P1, right? Note it down? Did you put some notes? Because I'm going to delete it. Note it down, guys, this one. Yeah, see, define parameters of interest, put the links in here, stuff, combine it together, right? No, times it's plus, right? Combine it together, fine, because we're going to calculate P hat 1 and P hat 2, right? It will help us to develop the stuff. Don't forget to use this condition, right? And 1 and times P1 greater than 5 and 2 times P2 greater than 5, and 1 minus 1 minus and 2, 1 minus, that's the rest of the formula from here. That's a condition. So then we use the z, if you remember. So that's the z value, right? So in that question, they said confidence level equal to 95, right? Or they provide significant level. Yeah, use significant level 5%, right? So Z, if you go to the table I provide to you guys, you can find the Z less than, according to the hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, and according to the testing of your belief, guys, you believe to less, right? Z alpha, which is alpha equal to 5% from the question, alpha equal to 5%, right? So equal to, according to the, compare these two values, draw it down, and if you check, the minus 1.645 and minus 3.116 will be in the rejection region. So you're going to reject or accept now hypothesis. Reject, if you draw it down, you can see that the Z value lies or located in the rejection region, right? Draw it out during, but you don't need to show me how to draw it out in the business report. Draw out you and just give me the decision, right? Put the T, a Z value, Z critical, Z less than, Z alpha, which is 1 point minus 1.645, right? And check T will come in the rejection region and reject null hypothesis of 5%. And give me the reason. There is enough statistical evidence to take the vaccine. That vaccine is effective in preventing the flu. So you have to take a vaccine, right? Did you take vaccine for this year? Not yet? Right? Almost 1 hour and 3 minutes. Do you have any question? So that's the steps in a business report. Define the parameters of interest. Check which sort of data you have. Matched pair, independent, single factor, two population to compare, and hypothesis according to your belief. Test Z or T. So find the value of Z of T, then see the critical region. Very important, right? Guys, I want you, don't give me just the value. Now, I want to see the critical region. I already printed and give it to you guys. For all of you, right? Already printed. And it's in your material, Model 5. I want to see the critical region. I want to see the critical value, right? And compare it and see where I do a decision. Same, exactly. Exactly, I want same. Not just said T, or same, right? Do you like rest, break for 7 minutes? Why? Because we're going to have an hour today. It's very important in your business report and final exam. So have 7 minutes break. I'll come back to finish the rest of the material for today. Do we have another question? Sorry, I didn't jump to the next slide. So,
Today got cancelled. We found out yesterday afternoon. Yesterday was getting cancelled. So I didn't get a workshop.
They didn't get a chance to go.
There was one at 6 p.m. last night, but I didn't have enough time to get off work. So is there? I found like going through it, the first part's not so bad. It's just the reconciliation at the end.
Fairly straightforward, but
Yeah, fair enough. Not hard. Reconciliation stuff at the end is just like if you know what you've done.
and
I tried something.
but that's what she runs through most of the time. We did our touch and they're very formulated, so she just use that approach.
Yeah.
So she said,
Partnership.
always do that.
Trust Yeah.
with that catch.
Yeah. I've gone through the questions.
Yeah, that's what she did.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't actually do a lecture.
Yeah.
She just
Went through questions. Yeah.
I was just here to
So if I do that, she said to watch it online. Watching these things online. It's just like,
try right around. Yeah. I've avoided it for that very reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate working it, for instance.
Yeah.
But yeah, when she went through this question.
Yeah. So for that's for the assistant. So yeah. It's mostly the formula, right? You know the formula, and that's steps. Yeah. So it's knowing the formula, and then it's also having the background knowledge from the previous sort of 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
Like
there's
that.
no new knowledge.
Yeah.
It's just knowing the steps.
Yeah. I'll practice some of that over the weekend.
Which is the bit I realise I get out in my exam, not having cut whole questions on it.
Yeah.
Yes, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, comes first,
Yeah.
and two.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work.
That's what came out of the.
Yeah.
Individually, I knew something new.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. Like I did all those whole questions, but I sort of sat down and like that. Make sure I was sort of drinking a coffee and like, it's like do them quick, learn how to do them quick, so that you can, when you get the exam, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's the couple of ones I've done.
yeah,
Doing
exactly.
yeah, using it as a.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm scared for that one. We'll see how
All right, so guys, our model today is the analysis of variance, ANOVA. We're gonna have a new couple of parts or concepts to cover today. The first one is single variance or single factor of ANOVA. One way ANOVA, we call it independent sample. And the other concept is an experimental design. And the last one we're going to cover today is a randomized block design. Actually, a couple of concepts, couple of formulas, several formulas, but here we're going to have different things. Here we're going to have a summary output from Excel. This is the new things. But within our model today, I will show you the nature of the question in final exam. And I will show you how to go with the data to address your business report question regarding ANOVA. So the first one, we're going to have single factor for independent sample. So with ANOVA, here, analysis of variance, we're going to compare 2 or more populations of quantitative data. Like when we have data about total assets as accountants, total liabilities, total debts. We have leverage. We have a lot of data. We call it quantitative. It's not qualitative like an opinion regarding some habits or events among the society. No, we're going to have a data, quantitative data, continuous data. Specifically, we're going to have, we are interested in the relationship between the population or among populations. Means, population means, and they are equal or not. The procedures here, we're going to follow the ANOVA analysis of variance procedures. So first, we have single factor, one-way ANOVA we call it, analysis of variance. The first, we're going to have with first single factor, one-way ANOVA independent sample. So in here, we're going to have, as I told you, quantitative data and testing to determine whether the difference between 2 or more population mean. See, 2 or more population means the differences. See, population means. To do so, we have a couple of techniques we have to follow. The variance of the data itself. So on the first example in here, if you can see it, so apple juice manufacturer. So we go through these techniques from this example. You have to remember during our model today. So apple juice manufacturer, they plan to develop new product, a liquid concentrate, they call it. So they have market manager, they have to provide them with the strategies he can follow to market a new product. So these strategies, there are three. It's those three strategies using to emphasize to convince the users of quality of the product, or they can use the strategy of price, like we can market the new products with low price, right? These are three different strategies. So the rest of the question, an experiment was conducted. So you can see three different strategies, right? So three different price, quality, and convincing the customers. So here they're gonna market these three strategies in three different cities. Right? Three strategies in three different cities, and do their campaign to advertise a new product. In each city of these three cities, they market one strategy, like convince or quality and price was emphasized. The weekly sales were recorded for 20 weeks. Please highlight this important point. So later, when you read the exercise, you know this point from here. Yes, sales. Yes, sales. Weekly sales for 20 weeks. Because based on this convenience, quality, three cities, right? So later, you're going to have N, number of observations, right? 3 cities times 20 weeks means 60 observations, right? You agree? So highlight this point. So if you can see, that's the data they provide. They provide us with some data. They record the data. Right? So I'll provide some notes for you guys. So we're going to have 20 observation per strategy in 3 different cities. City 1, right? City 2, City 3, right? Third city. So weekly sales, they record this data. From this data, you can see that we have independent sample, right? The data is quantitative first, right? Continuous, right? Quantitative, our primary objective is to compare sales in 3 cities, right? So we have proposed that relation between 3 cities, weekly sales. See 3 cities, so we can assume that our data, see, this is what I'm telling you guys to do in the business report. So maybe one question I'm asking you to find something that you have to see it's in qualitative or quantitative data. This quantitative, you're going to use this strategy, right? So define the parameters of interest, like the steps. I told you this is blah, 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 blah. So according to the independent one-way single factor or ANOVA, so we're going to have new, because we're going to have more than one population to compare. So we're going to have 3 mini-mu's, right? City 1, City 2, and City 3, right? So mini-mu 1 equal to mini-mu, that's the null hypothesis. But because we are interested to see the difference between the mean of these samples, right? So the nature of the alternative hypothesis, we're going to say, because why we do all of these strategies, guys? Because we believe that there are some differences in the mean of this different strategies in different cities. Because in one city we use convenience and or convincing strategy. In other city we use like quality of the product. And the other city we use the price, we use the low price strategy. So we assume, we think, or we believe that at least two of these samples means will be different. Why? That is the structure of the hypothesis, null hypothesis, and the alternative variable that we're going to test. See, the nature of the ANOVA model is different than single and two factors to compare. Now, we're going to have different things. Even the parameters or the distribution we're going to use today in here is a F statistics, which is the from appendix number 6. Yeah, appendix number 6, or table 6 from the appendixes. So I will show you how to find it step by step. To follow this process, guys, more easily, we use a couple of notations like a treatment and so independent sample are known for K. How many Ks do we have? 3 Ks, city 1, city 2, or the population in city 1 and city 2, we call it the treatment. X is the responses variable because once we have based on consideration cities, because when we market our strategies, we're going to record the opinions or the, for example, of the when we investigate any events or habits among the society or stuff. So we're going to record. So we're going to use. So we're going to have a new variables, guys. New name or let's say new parameters of interest. Like we're going to use factor. We're going to use variable. Because the next couple of models, we're going to have the independent variable, dependent variable, control variables, errors. So all of these will lead us to understand the regression, which is a model 9, I think. So we're going to have use treatment, which is 3. So how many cases we have in here? Or how many treatments we have? 3 treatments, because we have sample markets in 3 cities, right? Which is independent sample. So I think so. Ground means, which is the weight mean of the sample mean. Ground mean, which is x double bar. That one will help us to find the next couple of formulas because we have several formulas today. But all of these formulas do not need just, I think, 3 formulas, which is very easy one you need to remember, and the rest will be automatically come from the summary of the statistics. So I will show you how to do it. So every x, which is the variable, every x we have in here, like x2 or x1, x2, that's a variable, because variable. That means we're going to have second observation, third observation, fourth observation, couple of observations. We have 60 observations here. But for the treatment, because we have, which is K, treatment is K. How many treatments we have in here? 3, because our sample markets in 3 cities. Right? So all of this is a theoretical base for our model. So response variable in here is how many products like you are going to sales per week, for example. That's a response. Response is the actual sales value. 20 weeks, experimental unit, weeks in the 3 cities, which is 20 weeks. Factors, that means we're going to have the value, like based on the convenience, based on the quality, based on the price. How many factors you're going to use? That's a factor, as we call it. And the level, which is, well, after we record all the data, like for 3 cities and 3 strategies, marketing strategies, we're going to record, see the weight of the mean of each strategy to see the factor level, and that will help us to going forward and see, because we're going to use F-test, we're going to use NST, NSE, total SS, so a couple of concepts that we are going to. So very important in here today also. So let me just, in here, the rationale of the test statistics in here is two types of variability we have. Why we said variance? Because we want to see the difference between these three cities. It's not logic to say, no, it's all equal. No, it has to be some differences. It depends on the, there's additional, if we control for additional variables like income, the average income for the population living this city, maybe more than or less than the average income of the people who live in the other city that we're going to market another strategy, for example, right? So we have three cities, guys. So two types of variability. There is variability between the sample, right? Between the sample, and there is a variability within the sample. How? From our example, we have three cities, right? Let's talk about the between. We're going to go in to see the between in detail, but just a base concept. Between, that means between three cities there is some variance. This is between the cities. But within the city itself, right, there are some differences. This guy, for example, that lady, their income is different. Maybe they prefer this to put a new product, or they prefer the old product. It depends. This strategy may be different than other strategy, right? So for the within, we have three cities, right? 1, 2, 3, right? So here is the variance within the sample, right? Right? So between, we have three treatments, and within the treatment, between the treatment, right? Between the treatment, within the treatment. A lot of theories, theoretical concepts. But as soon as we are going to use Excel, and Excel will give us everything, it will be easy. But I want you to just understand this. This is the step. So, in here, so that's the output, because they want to see the differences, right? See, they give us some example, and they want to see the variability of these samples. So, in the first sample, a small variability, because it's too small. The variability is too small, and it's easy for us to make a decision. But in the second sample in here, you see the variability is too high, which is a bit. Please highlight this point. When you, so easier to conclude. Well, the means, larger, big size. So ask them to give us an E or bar. So larger, right? Within the sample. So it's a bit hard to conclude, right? And about the population mean. So want to see the small variability, which is small. Just this is just for to give you some idea. So you can just highlight these two important things. The rationale behind the test statistics also continuing with us. If the null hypothesis is true, it would be expected. By the way, we're going to test in here the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. The Excel summary outputs that I'm going to show you guys will give us the critical value, and will give us the value of F. But where I want you to go in the business report, don't use the value of the summary output of the Excel. I want you to see the value in the table 6. Because you're going to have F in here, table 6. Right? I'll show you how to use it. But that, and then decide whether the value of F located in the rejection region or not. And then we build your decision based on the output, whether it's located in the rejection region or non-rejection region. If the alternative hypothesis is true, at least some of that is the definition. Because if it's, so because alternative, we said at least 2 sample means will be different from each other, right? Will differ, right? That is the alternative. If it's different, that means we're going to reject null hypothesis. That's mean variability between sample mean. We found the variability because our task in here to see the variability, right, between the treatments or within the treatment, right? So just keep it in your mind. So a couple of concepts to consider, which is the most important stuff in here today. So the first one, we're going to see the difference between sample means, right? Between, right? So variability between sample means, right, is measured at sum of squared distances between each of mean and ground mean. How to find that? We have the summation calculated by summation of squares of treatments. Why treatments? Because we're going to have between 3 treatments we have in our example, right? City 1, City 2, City 3, right? So how to, we call it SST. This SST actually, there's a formula to calculate it. This formula, in our example, treatment are represented by the difference of overlapping cities or strategies. So strategies. So SST, which is sum of squares for treatment. SST. By the way, this one, it will be ready from the summary output of the Excel. That means you don't need to remember this formula. Just put, you don't need to remember. Because you're going to have a lot of formula. So, no need to remember the SST, which is the sum of squares treatment. Why we are going to see? Because we want to see the difference between the mean samples, right? Or sample means of the treatments, right? Treatments. 3 treatments we have. We want to see the difference. If it's between, you're going to use SST, right? Because with the sample mean close to each other, there is distance between blah, 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 SST. The large SST, see? Large sum of square for treatment indicate large variation between sample means. Right? Highlight this one. Indicate large variation between sample means, which support, because at least 2 sample differ. Right? If you check in your slides, check the alternative hypothesis before. There is minimum 1 equal, that's a null hypothesis. Minimum 1, minimum 2, equal minimum 2, equal to minimum 3. But the alternative, at least, right? 2 is differ. That is the structure of, with the 3 parameters of interest. Sometimes you have 4, sometimes you have, but normally they 3. So if SST is big or large, that means there is a large differences or large variation between sample means, right? Which support null hypothesis. That's the test of
Null hypothesis or alternative?
alternative. Sorry. Alternative. Null, it's equal. Sorry. Sorry, guys. What? SST. When we are going to use SST, if we are going to test the differences or different variations between the samples, right? Between SST. Okay. So that's how to calculate SST. We find, for example, 1 and SST, for example, 2, x1, x2, xk, xj bar. So that's how to calculate it. The ground mean, which is the weight of the sample means. So it's a bit complex. You don't have time to calculate all of this stuff in the exam. In the final exam, it's a bit early to talk about final exam. I think the next slide. But that's how to calculate originally. But this one will be given or will be hidden. If it's hidden, I will tell you how to find it. If it's given, that's okay. Right? Because this one will be part of summary output of the Excel. Because in the final exam, you don't have computer to run and find. I will provide you with the Excel table, summary, but I will hide some. There's 2 or 3 formulas I want you to remember to find the hidden and calculated values. So SST is a large enough to reject null hypothesis. Connect here and favor the alternative hypothesis, right? So, because large variability within sample weaken the ability to sample means are present same corresponding population means. Therefore, even though the sample means may, so, but still, if it's like this, therefore, even though sample means may markedly differ from one another, we need to, like the SST must judge relative to the within the sample. Let's see within the sample, because this also will be part of your summary output of the Excel. So we're going to have within the sample, we're going to have summation of squares for errors within the sample. Maybe there are some differences between the, there are some errors within the sample lead to the differences between the samples. So still we need to have to calculate SSE, which is the summation of squares for errors, right? And here, the summation of squares differences between the sales and city and this and the sample mean of the same city over the 3 cities. How to find it? This is the formula, which also you no need to remember because it will take a lot of time to calculate. So it will be given in the summary output. So from the statistics, we have the, so for example, we have the 3 different columns and series, and we just run using data analysis and find the one-way ANOVA test, and it will give us, so I will show you later, maybe next week, next model, I will show you how to run, but I will give you some hints today. I will show you the summary, which is the most important part, in your final exam and in your business report. In the final exam, you have one question from this model, 16 marks. So given that SST equal and SST equal to this value, so we have enough to reject the null hypothesis that specifically all means are equal. Right? So I will show you how to calculate whether it's equal or unequal. So here, the importance. So no need to remember SST and no need to remember SSE. That means no need to remember summation of squares for treatment between the samples, and no need to remember the formula of SSE, sum of squares for errors, but we need to remember MSE means square for treatment, and we need to remember the mean square for errors. It comes from the SSE. The SSE will be given, right? So K minus 1. How many Ks do we have in our example? 3, right? 3 treatments, guys. Right? And 3 cities, right? But in here, N minus K, how many N we have? 60. That means N minus K will equal to 57. 3 Ks. Right? What happened with you? Guys, this one. 20 weeks in 3 cities. 20 times 3 equal to 60. I know it's afternoon, but there's one question will be allocated from our model today in the final exam. And I will tell you how to do it. See, guys, please concentrate with me. See, in the final exam, there is summary output in your question. I will provide it to you. Right? It will be given. So the summary output include SST, include SSE, include the SS, or total, we call it. Or total, say total. Right? So in here we have, for example, this is a variable name. Here we're going to have degree of freedom, for example. Right? So we're going to have K, for example. Right? We're going to have MST. Right? We're going to have MSE. By the way, I will show you one example, but I want to do it for you manually. So to let you know that to what extent it's important. MST, MSE. We have F, sorry, not T, F. We have critical value, for example, or P value. It depends on the number of variables. I'll show you one value. What I want you to do, guys, please pay your attention. And here, SST, for example, I will give you the total. For example, it's 10. And I will give you here 5. And this one, I will make it hidden. So you have to, because 5 plus 5, it has to be SS. Right? 5 plus 5 equal to 10. Right? Degree of freedom, it depends. K depends. K, 3, for example, no example. Why I give you this one, guys, to follow the steps? Because if I give you one hidden in here, you can't calculate MST until you find SST or SSE, right? You know what I'm saying? So if I said here, just total will give you, for example, 20. And I will say here 15. And this one will be question mark. So what you have to do before, because this one will be also hidden, or this one may be hidden. So you can't find MST before you find the value of SSE, for example, or value of SST. Because SST plus SSE equal to the total, 20. Right? That means this equal to 5. Once you find SSE, it's easy to calculate MSE. Or SSE, easy to calculate MSE, which is the SSE divided by N minus K. This one will be part of your final exam. Like this, I will give you a couple of question marks. Maybe I will give you N, degree of freedom, right? So I will give it to you hidden. I will show you one example more clear, guys. I will show you. SST, it will be named as a between the samples. SSE, within. So if you see the output of the Excel or the summary of the Excel, I will say between. Within, total. Right? For our example in here, the MST, mean square for treatment, mean square for errors, it will equal to these values. Here, between treatments, right? 3 treatments minus 1, and here, within, which is the n minus k errors, right? Now, we're going to have F test, because the distribution for the treatments in here will be F. But before F, you have to meet 2 conditions. We have 2 conditions. Testing the population has to be normally distributed, and the variance of all population tested are equal. Right? So CF, see the last, we found MST. See guys, see the steps. Wake up. MST, we found MST, right? MSE, we found it, right? How to find F? MST divided by, like, do you remember when we calculate T? Formula. Minus or Z, x bar minus n mu. Right? And here, we're going to have F calculated by MST, last slide, previous slide, divided by MSE. But we have to meet these 2 conditions before. The first one, distributed greater than 30, central limit theorem, or you can use, you see the diagram or the histogram to see it's normally distributed or not. Right? Here, if you go to table 6, you have V1 and V2. If you have your table in front of you, you jump to 6. I'll show you. We have example. I'll show you. Right? So K minus 1 for V1 and for V2, N minus K, which is 57 our example. And K minus 1 equal to 2. Right? That's the critical region. I will show you how to find it with F. See, F test rejection region. Again, you have in a business report, on a final exam, you have to show me the critical region. Critical region, which is that one. That is the critical region. This one from V1 and V2, which is the previous slides, right? So MST divided by MSE to find to find F. And here, so F equal to some value, right? Once we go to table 6 and find this critical alpha K minus 1, alpha will be 1 person, depends. Rejection region, we'll go to table 6 and find the value and compare it and see whether we are going to reject or accept now. In business report, guys, you can find the output will give you that critical. But I want you to use the table one. Again, I repeat it for you that this is first line. I want you to use the table, critical region value from the table, from the book, from textbook, not indexes. You have to use it, not the Excel one, because there will be some differences. So I can read it and find whether you are following the critical value of Excel or the textbook. I'll find it. Otherwise, I'll give you 0. 0 is not good habit, not good things. So, see guys, that's a critical. At least 2 means differ. Same, right? Test statistics, MST equal to 3 point. Critical region, go to table 6 guys. find the value of 3.15? V1 and V2. Try to find, this is easy.
So which confidence level? Which alpha?
Alpha 5%.
That's all that, yeah.
This one. Ah, yeah. Okay. 2
Not
and
able?
57.
Heavy, right? The book is heavy. I'll show you that. It's not heavy for me. I printed. Otherwise, online students will find it.
So we have here. So we have, this is the critical region. That's the value of T, because we divide MST divided by MSE, we found 3.32. If we come to find the critical value from the region or rejection region, F greater than, so go to the table, alpha 5%, and it will be V1 K minus 1. We have 3 Ks minus 1, 2, which is V1, 2, this one. And N minus K, which is 60 minus, so again, guys, you're going to have the nearest one.
Nearest one?
Right, nearest one. Good. So 3.60 minus 30, 3 equal to 60, 57. So we don't have 57, we have to take the nearest. Right? So because V1 and V2, see, V1 and V2.
So that's 1%. Oh, that's what that is. 25%. Yeah, okay. That's 1%. So what's that?
One.
2.5%.
4, you can find it.
Yeah, that's, there we go.
I will come and see. Just by one by one.
See, guys. We have V1. Where's your slides? You don't print it? Anyway. We have that one in front of you. F greater than F alpha K minus 1. K minus 1 is a V1, this one, which equal to 2. Right? We take 2, this one. V2, which is N minus K. Right? 57. Go to this 57 here. No 57, so go to the nearest one. Right? And 2. Got it? Try. No, between 7 and 8. Got it? Got it, guys? What's the V1? K minus 1 means 2. Okay, that's V1. V2, N minus K, 57. Go to see V2. Yeah, 60, nearest one, right? And 2 equal to? Right? It's very, try. Because that one V1, and that one V2. That's it. Right? Table 6, huh? So if you want to draw it down, guys, you know, same. What's the critical value we found? 3.15. Okay? This is the right? So F will be greater than, right? So allocated in rejection region. This is non-rejection region. Right? Try to draw it out, guys, to understand the steps. Work it out. Okay? In the next slide, we're going to have the summary output, which is the material of your final exam. Got it? Guys, this one? You got that one, guys?
for almost 4 models. 3 models. ANOVA, single factor, guys. For our example, please pay your attention with me. In the final exam, I will provide you with this one. But I will hide SSE, SST, SSE. And this is SS. No, sorry. This is the name of the variable. SS between SS, SS, and this is SS. Right? So SS equal to, maybe I will give you this one, and I will give you this one. This one will be omitted. I'll give you question mark. Ask you to find. Just combine this one minus this equal to this. Or if this one is hide, it has to be 1 SST plus SSE title. But because if I hide any of this value, this one or this one, it's too hard to find this value before you calculate this one. F also, because I'll provide you with MS. This one, guys, this one MST, because I give you a title. MSE, right? And F, MST divided by MSE. See steps. You have to start from the beginning to find the values. Maybe I will give you a couple of, I will be allocated a good mark, guys, in fact, maybe 7 marks out of this specific question. I'll ask you to find this one. Even in the business report, remember, guys, remember, in the business report, I want you, because I already provide you with the data, right? And if you run using ANOVA single factor, you're going to have this summary. But still, I want you to find this critical value from the table. And I want you to calculate this one manually. Yeah, it's okay to use this one. No problem, because I said to you guys, no need to remember this formula. But I want you to remember F. And I want you to remember MSE, MST, sorry, and MSE, which is SST divided by K minus 1, SSE divided by N minus K. Even in degree of freedom, I will, for example, in the final exam, okay, you can use it with the business report, no fine. But in the business report, on the final exam, maybe I will hide this one. And I'm asking you to find degree of freedom, N minus 1. Right? So maybe I will hide this one, I'll give you this. So you have to find the difference. Combine it together or find the difference between this one. Right? This is the steps for business report and final exam. Very important, our model today in the final exam, especially this one. Do you have pen? Please say it's important in the final exam. Or note it down. Very important to check the requirement and see whether your sample is normally distributed or not with equal variance. Right? Less than 1.5. So the data provided in here is in variance. See, guys, very important step. Guys, see the important step for your business report. Otherwise, you're going to use a lot of mistakes. And here I provide you with the variance. The variance. But in fact, to check whether it's equal or not, you have to use S. How to use S? Square root of largest divided by smallest. S, not variance, because the output of X, they give us a variance. right? So it equals to 1.22, less than 1.5. That means variance are equal, right? Less than 1.5, right? To check the normality of Z, you have to go to histogram. Bless you. Right? Because the output will give us variance. But in fact, we need to see S, the standard deviation, S. Sample standard deviation, S. Right? Go back to model 6. Right, guys?
What do we do if it's not?
If it's not,
Equal.
wait, next. A lot of.
Sorry, I was making sure I wasn't.
But go with this one now. Don't extend it. Because you're going to have the chi-square and see how we go with it. Right? So, histogram in the business report, don't forget. I think one of the questions I'm asking to see the satisfaction. What's the satisfaction conditions? Equal and histogram. I want you to show me if it's equal or not, and show me the histogram. Right? See the differences between t-test and f-test? Oh, sorry. Right? So with t-test, compare just two populations. And if they use the population normally distributed. So by hypothesis testing, we're going to have three different conditions. Whether the n min mu1 greater than, or less than, or different than some value. Right? So we're going to use plus and minus, right? Well, for f-test, which is the one-way ANOVA, compare 3 or more. Right? Here is 2. So it's this. Here we're going to see 3 or more population. Right? 3 or more. Here 2 we have. Here, see this one you need to remember, guys. This one is very important because in each question, I think in all of the questions of the business report, you need to find the you need to write down the hypothesis. Will allocate 2 marks for this hypothesis. Right? If it's 2, you're going to have min mu1 and min mu2. If it's more 3 plus, it depends how many cases you have. You have 1 min mu1, 2, 3, 4, depends. But normally it's 3. So we're going to say at least 2 of these will be different. Right? I think we have a summary. So we're going to have analysis variance for experimental design. So one of factors that determines which technique we're going to use, that's match pair DS independent samples, several elements to distinguish in here. So in here, for example, the number of factors that is we're going to control. Each characteristics investigate we call factor, which is the strategies. The factor has several levels, depends on the I think there's another, not that one, sorry. So several levels. So criteria which define your treatment, the factor in here. So just that's interesting. So how to say single factor? Why we say single factor? Because one factor of the advertisement, we have 3 levels in here, which is the convenience, quality, and price. But if we say we have multi-factors, that means, or experiment, that means we have, in addition to these 3 strategies, we're going to extend our advertisement into, for example, we're going to do marketing through TV or newspaper. So we're going to have multi-treatments and factors. Treatments, 3 treatments. But treatments and factors, that means we're going to have multi-factor experiment because we're going to use these 3 strategies: convenience, quality, and price. And we have two different factors, which is the strategies that we're going to market our three strategies that like convenience products. We're going to use TV and the newspaper, or newspaper. So advertising strategy, 3 levels: convenience, product quality, and price. Advertising medium, we're going to have TV or newspaper, right? Right? So different levels. If we see this in diagram, see one way ANOVA, we're going to have just 3 treatments. And if it's multi-factors, that means 2-way ANOVA, because we're going to have extend to the using newspaper and TV, right? So 2 factors, 3 treatments, or factor A, factor B. It depends on the structure of the or software that you're going to use to find the differences between these 2 ways to analyze your data provided. But in the business report, I don't want you to show me this one, just the histogram, whether it's normally distributed or not. Easy, right? Would you like to have 5 minutes rest or continue? Go ahead. Yeah, good. Yeah. It's fun. So, dependent sample and blocks. A matched pair experiment design reduces the variation because we're interested with the incremental effect, if you remember, the model number 6. But here, randomized block design, we have counterparts of matched pair experiment, but we have differences with the treatments, and we have, within these treatments, we have blocks, right? So here we're going to have a group matched observation are framed into blocks because in order to remove the noise variability. A lot of techniques in the software, guys, to reduce the noise variability. But we want to see the base or the traditional way to reduce noise variability, that we're going to have the block, randomized block design. By doing so, improve the chance of detecting the variability of interest. That's what we are going to see how this model want to detect the variability, right, of interest. So how to do that? 2-way ANOVA. 2-way ANOVA to detect the variation of interest by using randomized block design experiment. That's what we are going to do. The single factor, 2-way ANOVA, analysis of variance, randomized block. See, the purpose of designing randomized block experiment is to reduce within the treatment variation, thus increasing the between variations. Right? This helps in detecting differences between the treatment means more easily because we want to detect the difference between the treatments. That's what we are going to do. We will have this we have, for example, we have a couple of treatments, right? Right? For example, 6, 7 treatments. But within treatments, we have blocks, right? This is the blocks. Right? It will be easy when we discuss the, we have an exercise. I'll show you how to address it. So, blocks or the observation are some commonly across the treatments, right? That's the blocks, that's the treatments. Right? So that's, for example, an example for that. That's one important, guys. because it will be given. This is the base of the data, like we have blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, B, and we have treatments, right? And blocks will be across these treatments, but at the end you're going to have the block mean, the mean of the blocks. It's very complex to calculate it manually. That's why we use Excel summary. Excel summary will give us the summation of SSE, SST, SSP, so it's all the values. So not interesting to summation of square total, if you remember it, right? It will be if you remember with the independent variable before, one way or another, we're going to have just SST and SSE. But in here, we're going to add SSB, which is the summation or sum of square for blocks. Yeah, we have a treatment, SST, and we have to judge the treatment with SSE, but within this treatment, we have blocks, right? We have to add the blocks. Now, we can assume that the summary, it will also locate, will also include or contain SSB, which is the summary, okay, summation of square for blocks. That means you're going to have SST, SSE, and SSB. That is the total, right? No one say right. That's why I said, do you want 5 minutes rest? Anyway, we're going to finish, not that much. As soon as there is a, so we add SST, SSB plus the SSE. As you remember the example 1, we had just SST and SSE, but here we're going to have SSB, which is sum of square. There is a formula to calculate SSB, no need to remember it. The most important part to remember, how to find MSE and MST and F. This couple of formula you need to remember. But how to calculate B, SSB, or SST, or SSE? No need, because this is an Excel. But you need to know how to calculate the total. This one. If I give you 2 and total, you have to find the difference. You have to play with the formula to find the differences. Right? Need to remember it? What do you think? Yeah, you need to remember it. No. No need to remember the formulas. This is a summary of formulas. How to calculate SST, how to calculate SSB, how to calculate SSE, and how to calculate the total. But this one will be provided, guys. But in some cases, I will give you question mark. Just one value will be hidden. So I'm asking you to find another one. Right? So that's the steps. That's a summary of the formula that we're going to do in the Excel summary. Will output will give us all the stuff, but we need to find the hide one, the omitted one, because this will help us to find the MST, MSE that we need to remember. Because with MSE and MST, it's easy to calculate F, statistics. See the steps? Without SSE, SST, no MSE and MST. Without MSE and MST, no F. Steps. You got it, guys? Now, for treatment, if you remember, we have MST and MSE. For block, we're going to add new one. But for block, it will be scaled by B minus 1. Total blocks minus 1. Right? B minus 1. I'll show you how to do it. We need to remember this formula. These three formulas, we need to remember it. But for MSE, which is the most complex one, no need to remember. And MSB and, SST, SSE, and SSB, no need to remember. But we need to remember MST, MSB, MSE. We need to remember that because this one will help us to find F, right? Which is the critical value from table number 6. For the treatment, how to find the F for treatment? For treatment, F for treatment, mean square for treatment divided by mean square for errors. Okay, this is a summary. Right, guys? But for blocks, F for blocks, you're going to have MSB divided by MSE. Right? The F for blocks. Right? Because now we're going to have an example, comprehensive one, have a treatment and blocks together. Right? Yeah, I know, I know. See the critical region. For treatment, as I said to you, V1. For blocks, it will be like this, right? With design, block design. C for block design. C for block design is different. So F for treatment and F critical for blocks. Let's see how we go with the, that's the summary. You need to review it, guys. So the treatment, if we have treatment, that's the summary for what we have done. If we have for treatment, K minus 1 SST, that is the mean square and F statistics. For blocks, and that is the error, and that's the total. This will be given in this summary statistics, but you need to find some omitted values. So let's see how we go with the example. Please have 5 minutes reading time. So you have to pay your attention. Oh, sorry. See how we go with the example. Did the teenagers listen to the radio? I don't have time to listen. Let's play. 10 equal to 100, for example. Yeah. Well, this will be given. So, 10 minus 6. So let's, we have to understand. We have to understand the nature of the question first. Right? So, review the question. So, from the question, we have the first part of the question. It will give us that means we have 7 treatments. Okay, 47. Really. From the first part, you have a treatment. But if you read that 20 teenagers were asked, right, to record how long. So that means all they spend to listen to the radio each day. Each day. 20 teenagers, so that means we have to record their listening belong each teenager each day.
Right. So B equals to or blocks and blocks or not?
No, let's understand. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So blocks, it has to be belong to each teenager. That means B equal to 1.
Okay.
You have to come up
So B and then
n equal to the total number of observations.
also that would be times 7. Yeah. Okay.
So the degree of freedom is
Yeah. So B equals 200.
because when you talk about n, we talk about the number of observations.
Yeah. So N is 1400.
So every day, at each teenager, that's observation,
Yeah, I see.
right? So times.
Every day 200 teenagers. So
But this one, once you have the data, just go through the without multiplication. I know, but without multiplication, very sure.
yeah.
Hi guys, how's it going with the example? Maybe we will say, can't complain. How's it going with the question, guys? What do you think? You have to meet the conditions. You have to guys, which sort of experiment we have in here? So the first part of the question, they will say we have 7 days, right? This is first part. They give us, sorry. First part of the question, right? 7 days. Right? The first part of the question tell us that we're going to have 7 treatments. If we finish, continue. Reading the question, they said 20 teenagers were asked, okay, to record how long they spend listening to the radio each day of the week. That means we're going to have 20 teenagers, B1, B2, B20. Right? So that means we have block design. Right? So I mean we have 20 blocks. If we use the software, guys, so you got it, guys? You got it? Got it, guys? Very easy, guys. Not that much easy, but you need to understand the question. You need to read the question. They said, because you're interesting to see how long every teenager of this, out of this 200, because they have 200 teenagers, how long they spend listening to a radio each day for a week. That means we have 7 days per week. We have 200 teenagers. We check the time they spend to listen to the radio each day. Right? So that means 7 treatments, 200 blocks. Right? Not that much complex in the exam, but we need to understand it. How to address the question. In case maybe you're going to have one such a question, what do you have to do? You have to read. This part, first part, give us an indication that we have 7 treatments, because 7 days. But still we have to record the time these teenagers spend to listen to the radio each day of the week. Right? For 7 days. So, directly what you have to go, see how to explain the question. The problem is objective compared to 7 populations. Right? 7 T's. Treatments. Case. The data is quantitative because 20 minutes, 70 minutes, 30 minutes, 0 minutes. Some of them, they didn't listen to the radio never in their life because they're busy with the gains, huh? Right, guys? So that's the nature of the quantitative. Accountant, they call us quant researchers because we're interested in the real numbers, total assets, total liabilities, total debts. This is our interest. We love the numbers. We love the continuous, quantitative, right? Because that's our output. After doing a lot of journal entries, at the end, we're going to have annual report. We have balance sheet, income statement, cash flow. This is a quantitative. This is a continuous numbers. It comes from the hips of numbers and calculation transactions and journal entries during the year. Right? This is a quant data. Right? So this is the first condition you have to meet. You have to see whether it's normally distributed, almost approximately normally distributed. Right? Because the histogram, it looks like a bell or mound shape. Right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right, guys? Got it? It's an example. If you see now, guys, they give us population variance seems to be equal because it's already calculated, guys. See? The highest value held 540, right? 0.70. And the smallest one, 462.97. We can say 463. So it will be less than 1.5, right? That means variance is equal or not equal? Less than 1.5, guys. Because see, the difference is too short, less than. It's less than half. Less, too much less. 500 divided by 450. It will be 1 point something. Less than 1.5. Accountants, statisticians, what's wrong with you? Right? One day you need to teach and we will listen. Maybe we'll also get tired and we miss the calculation in our mind at the end of the model. Right, guys? Use data analysis. We need to follow the steps, check the normality, and check the variance. Right? And then data analysis ANOVA, 2-factor, without replication. If you check your stuff, so you guys have to find it. I'll check how to find it. Excel. Your data Data analysis, all the functions from this options, guys, is same. I can make it bigger. I come ANOVA, two-factor without replication, and then run. It will give you, once you run data analysis, ANOVA, two-factor without replication, it will give you this output. Right? See? See the output is now blocks. We're going to have blocks, treatment, error. We're going to have SS, B, SS, SS. This is the total. Right? One will be high. Same for that one, but we're going to have blocks in here. Because we're going to have, right? Degree of freedom. MS, this one important. MSB, right? MS, ET, MS, F divided by, and here 11, so F equal to 11.9. And critical value, so what do you think? Smaller than, 5% regression, significant level, what you going to do? What's your decision? Reject null hypothesis, because the F critical that provided in here are F greater than F critical. Right? Write it down. So here, F critical, 2.106, something like that. And you compare it together. So it will be allocated in the rejection region. Right? So, in the business report, and in the final exam, I will delete it. So don't worry. I will delete it totally. But in the business report, if you use, because you're going to use the Excel, not me, so I can't delete it. I don't have control. I have no control on your laptops or computers. But I want you guys to use the F from table 6. Not the F from, not F from the summary. I want you to use F from the textbook.
What's the p value?
The smallest value of alpha. I will give you an example next week.
Okay.
But how to use value. Right?
Right.
I think I already put some notes in here. So p-value less than alpha. If the p-value, alpha is 5%, right? If the p-value, I think, less than alpha, I will give it to you next week. So
Don't worry about it for now.
No, I will give you some example. It's at the moment, no, but next, because we're going to have.
Okay.
So if the p-value less than alpha, so we're going to reject. So, but there is some calculation for p-value. You have to say the p-value in here divided by 10 power 13. There's some rule to calculate it. So I think I don't want you to,
Fair enough.
because if you want to compare pair value with the significant level, because pair value in here is a good question, but I don't want you to question. If you want, there's two ways to decide, in fact, to reject or accept null hypothesis. One way, the traditional one, which is the more interesting one. Compare the critical with F. But if you want to use t-value, you have to follow the rule, which is if p-value less than alpha, reject when you find the value, p-value equal to 5.14 divided by 10 power 13. If it's small value, then that means reject. So if we said 5.14 divided by 5.14 divided by 10 power 13, very, very small value. According to the rule, p-value less than alpha, reject. Null hypothesis. That's other way. Do you like it? Up to you. Use the best way you find it's easy. But from my perspective, use the traditional one. Right? Very small number. Very small number. So reject my hypothesis. Do you have any question, guys? So good luck with your business report and holiday. Free tuition week. Enjoy with your holiday. So, guys, if you have a very critical question and you can't address it, if you would like to work during the tuition-free week, which most of you guys, I'm sure you would like to work, so send me an email if you have some. Why are you smiling, guys? Trust that you're going to work. Fully trust. So good luck, and I wish you a nice Easter holiday and nice tuition-free week, and all the best with your assignments.
Thank you.
See you after.
See you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Or in 2 weeks.
Sort this folder out. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Nice. To do the program.
See ya.
See you guys. All the best. see you here. So how's it going? All good?
So what's the what was the algorithm?
What's standard deviation?